Hello everyone and welcome back to the show. Today on your daily starter, I want to talk about how to handle mistakes. I mean, it's inevitable, right? One way or the other, we all make mistakes. But when mistakes happen, it's a chance for greatness and it's a chance to go down the drain. How is it going to be? Hello friend, this is the voice of Ademola Morebise. Hello friend, I believe that it is inevitable, right? At some point, you are going to make mistakes. I am going to make mistakes. In fact, I've had my own fair share of making mistakes, right? Making mistakes is just one of those things. There's nobody that above mistakes. And we have to understand that, right? That everybody is prone to make mistakes, okay? I believe that when we make mistakes, the important thing is to understand that when you've made a mistake, it's always good to admit that a mistake has been made early enough. I think that's something that I cannot stress, can't stress it enough, right? Because a lot of times, I believe that making a mistake is not the problem, right? It is our attitude towards making mistakes that is the problem. Because when we make a mistake, our initial reaction, right, is to deny that a mistake has been made. We deny it, try to cover it up, So one mistake leads to a second mistake, leads to a third mistake. At the end of the day, it leads to an error, okay? I believe it is better to make a mistake than to be the recipient of an error, right? Because when an error has been made, then, trouble has started, right? But if it's just a mistake, I believe we can still nip it in the bud right there and then. But a lot of times, our refusal to admit that we've even made a mistake, I think that is the big problem that pulls us back. And it has to do with our ego, right? You feel, man, I'm too big to make a mistake. But honestly, who are you? Who are you? No matter who or what we are, we have to understand that mistake seems to be a part of life, right? As long as you are not merely, rehashing the same thing over and over again, if you're not doing the same thing over and over again, if you ever venture out to do something new, if you ever venture out to try new things, it's inevitable that at some point you are going to make a mistake. But our willingness to admit to ourselves sometimes that, hey, I've made a mistake, this mistake has been made, it's a mistake, I own it, I've made a mistake, the sooner we get to that point, I believe the better, right? When you talk about making mistakes, right, you now realize that when you say you made a mistake, it implies that you did something with your best judgment, with your best intentions, but somehow you did not get the outcome you hoped for, right? So mistake has to be considered, right, as an outcome you did not want. That means you made the decision based on the best information available at the time. But now that the mistake has been made, you've learned new things actually. You've learned something new now. That, that was a mistake. Like, I should have done this instead. I should have gone this other way. I should have done this other thing. So the mistake in a way has made us wiser, right? And as one wise man once said, he said, never let a crisis go to waste. Which means that anytime we make a mistake, there's an opportunity as well. Yes, every mistake present an opportunity, but so many times rather than identify the opportunity and go after the opportunity, we go into denying the mistake, and then we pile up the mistakes, and at the end of the day you get to a point whereby the mistake has now led to something serious. Now the mistake has now led to an error, right? But on the other hand, you make a mistake, you admit to yourself, hey, I made a mistake, you sit down now review the information all over again plus this mistake, right? By the time you factor in the mistake into what that happened, you cannot make a better decision, you cannot make an informed decision. I believe that mistakes hold the potential. The difference between, greatness and mediocre is how we respond to our mistakes. I believe that the difference between the boys and the men, right? One of the ways by which we can sort out the boys from the men is how do they respond to mistakes, because mistakes are inevitable, and when mistakes come knocking, how do we respond? So the best way to respond is you admit that yes, you've made a mistake, then sit down now, you evaluate, okay? So based on what you know now, plus the mistake and everything, what is the new best course of action, all things being considered? And when you approach it that way, that helps you now to move on from the mistake, because at the end of the day, it is not the mistakes we make that that leads to failure, right? It is our refusal. It's our refusal to move on. I believe that is where the real problem lies. A lot of times, so many things have been promised, and you get in and you realize, wow, this was a bad idea, right? So the best thing to do is to cut our losses and move on. But a lot of times we struggle with moving on, even though moving on is in our best interest. So don't allow one or two mistakes you made in your past Don't let it hold you back from from venturing forward, right? Because those things are mistakes. If you intentionally did it, it will not be a mistake, would it? I don't think so, right? So those mistakes were made. It was a mistake. It's not something you wanted to do. It was not the outcome you wanted, but now it's come up. So let us learn how to move on from that, and I believe that things will play out much better. Why don't you repeat after me this morning? Say, God daily loads me with benefits. I am bold and strong. Every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. My name is Ademola Morebise. Thank you so much for taking our time to check out this video. Remember, you can lead a formidable life. Have a great day. Bye.